The veil trembled in her hands like a fragile promise unraveling. As Aisha stood at the altar, her heart pounding in sync with the organ's mournful swell. The church, filled with faces painted in expectation, her mother's tearful smile, her sister's proud nod, faded into a blur when the doors creaked open one last time. No groom. Just the echo of footsteps that never came. Her bouquet slipped from numb fingers, petals scattering like shattered dreams across the polished floor. In that instant, the weight of abandonment crashed over her, a black bride in white lace, left to face a congregation of pitying eyes. "He's just late," she whispered to herself, but the lie tasted like ash. The world tilted, and Aisha's knees buckled, her sobs breaking free as the first crack in her soul widened into a chasm of raw, unrelenting heartbreak. Aisha stumbled out of the church into the relentless afternoon sun, the white gown clinging to her like a mocking shroud. Her heels clicked unevenly on the pavement, each step a denial of the truth clawing at her chest. "He'll call. He'll explain," she muttered under her breath, fumbling for her phone in the sea of satin. The screen remained blank, no missed calls, no apologies from Jamal, the man who'd promised forever just yesterday. Her family hovered at a distance. Her mother, Elena, with arms outstretched but eyes averted, as if touching her might shatter the illusion Aisha clung to. "Baby, come home," Elena said softly, but Aisha waved her off, climbing into her beat-up sedan alone. The drive to her small apartment in the heart of Atlanta blurred through tears she refused to acknowledge. Denial wrapped around her like a cocoon, fragile and false. It was traffic, or cold feet. Weddings make people nervous, she told herself, gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles whitened. But as she pulled into the parking lot, the empty spot where Jamal's car should have been mocked her. Their spot. The one they'd laughed about claiming after the wedding. She slammed the door, the sound echoing her fracturing resolve. Inside, the apartment was a shrine to their future. Half-packed boxes labeled Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. Photos of them grinning at engagement parties, her ebony skin glowing against his in every frame. Aisha kicked off her shoes and collapsed onto the couch, the veil still tangled in her hair. Pain seeped in then, slow and insidious, like ink bleeding through paper. Why? The question looped in her mind, a relentless tide. Jamal, with his easy smile and promises of building a life beyond the struggles she'd known, growing up black in a world that often saw her as less, had been her anchor. They'd met at a community center event, where he'd volunteered, his charm disarming her guarded heart. Betrayal tasted bitter. She'd poured her soul into planning this day, every detail a testament to her resilience after losing her father young, after scraping through college on scholarships and side jobs. The doorbell buzzed, jolting her. It was her best friend, Lena, a no-nonsense nurse with locks piled high and eyes that saw through facades. "Girl, open up before I break this door down." Aisha let her in, collapsing into Lena's embrace. "He's coming back, Lena. He has to." Denial cracked under Lena's gentle scrutiny. "Aisha, honey, he left a note at the church. Said he couldn't do it." The words landed like blows, and pain erupted fully, a guttural sob that shook Aisha's frame. She rocked on the floor, the gown pooling around her like spilled milk. "I trusted him. I gave everything." Lena held her, whispering, "You gave to the wrong one, but you're still whole." Hours blurred into evening. Aisha showered off the makeup, the lace discarded in a heap. But sleep EV'd her. Nightmares of empty aisles haunted the dark. In the quiet, internal whispers battled. "You're not enough. Too ambitious, too independent. That's why he ran." Yet, a flicker of defiance stirred. She rose at dawn, packing the boxes away, each tape-sealed flap a small victory against the void. Venturing out for coffee, she bumped into Mrs. Hargrove, the elderly neighbor who'd lost her husband years ago. "Child, pain's like a storm. It rages, but it passes. Don't let it drown you." Mrs. Hargrove's words, warm as her offered hug, planted a seed amid the ache. At the park nearby, Aisha sat on a bench, watching children play. A little girl with braids, no older than 7, approached, holding out a daisy. "You look sad, miss." "Flowers make it better." Aisha's smile trembled as she accepted it. In that child's innocent eyes, she saw her own lost joy, and for a moment, the pain softened. But denial lingered. She texted Jamal one last time, "Why?" and deleted his number when silence answered. The wound throbbed, but in its depths, a resolve began to form. She wasn't broken. She was bending, learning to stand anew. Weeks melted into a haze of routine. Aisha's days a deliberate dance around the pain that still lingered like a bruise. Reflection came unbidden in the quiet hours, as she jogged through the neighborhood, her mind replaying the betrayal in vivid detail. Was it me? My dreams too big for his world? Internal dialogue filled her journals now, pages stained with tears and truths. Jamal's abandonment wasn't just a jilting. It echoed old wounds. Her father's early death, leaving her mother to raise 3 girls alone. The subtle rejections in corporate America, where her brilliance as a marketing consultant was often overshadowed by her skin. Yet, in reflecting, she uncovered strength. The scholarships earned through grit, the community projects she'd led, the love she'd given freely despite the risks. One rainy afternoon, seeking solace in a quaint bookstore cafe, Aisha met him, Elias. He was unassuming, with kind hazel eyes and a worn leather jacket, nursing a black coffee at the corner table. Their eyes met when she dropped her book, a self-help tome on resilience. "Here," he said, handing it back with a gentle smile. "Rough day." His voice was steady, devoid of pity, and for the first time in months, Aisha didn't feel exposed. They talked about books, dreams deferred, the city's hidden gems. Elias shared fragments of his life, a philanthropist at heart, funding local arts programs anonymously. "I've learned that true wealth is in connections, not accounts," he said, his words sparking warmth in her guarded heart. Interactions like these wove into her healing tapestry. Lena dragged her to therapy, where a mentor-like counselor, Dr. Rivers, a black woman with silver-streaked hair, urged, "Healing isn't linear, Aisha. It's a spiral, circling back, but rising higher." Small victories accumulated. Aisha aced a big client pitch at work, her confidence blooming like spring after winter. At a community center volunteer shift, ironic, given where she'd met Jamal, she mentored teens, their eager faces mirroring her younger self. One boy, Jamal Jr., fate's cruel joke, confessed his fears of failure. "You got this," she told him, echoing the wisdom she'd gleaned. Strength isn't absence of fear, it's walking through it. Elias became a quiet constant. Coffee meetups turning to walks in the park, where the same little girl from before waved, now calling Aisha Flower Lady. Through him, reflection deepened into growth. He listened without judgment as she unpacked her pain, his presence a balm. "You've been carrying that alone too long," he said one evening, as they watched the sunset paint the sky in golds and purples. Aisha felt seen, her blackness celebrated in his genuine admiration for her culture, her curls, her unyielding spirit. Subtle hints emerged, his knowledge of art grants, the way strangers deferred to him, but she dismissed them, focusing on the man, not the mystery. The turning point came at a gala for underprivileged youth, where Aisha volunteered. Elias arrived in a tailored suit, his demeanor shifting from casual to commanding. Whispers rippled. "That's Elias Grant, the billionaire behind the Grant Foundation." Shock rippled through her, the secret philanthropist, hiding his fortune to connect authentically. "Why didn't you tell me?" she confronted him later, hurt mingling with awe. He took her hands, eyes earnest. "Because I fell for Aisha, the woman who rises from ashes, not the title. Your healing inspired me to reveal it now." In that moment, personal growth crystallized. His identity changed everything, not by elevating her, but by affirming her worth independent of status. Aisha's journey culminated in a quiet renewal. She burned the old photos in a backyard fire pit, ashes carried away by the wind, symbolizing release. With Elias by her side, not as savior, but partner, she embraced self-acceptance. The pain had forged her, reflection polished her edges, and growth unfurled her wings. Walking hand in hand under starlit skies, she whispered to herself, "I am enough." Whole, renewed. Emotional peace settled, a gentle tide washing away the last shadows. Moral of the story: true healing blooms not from external saviors or revelations, but from the quiet courage to confront inner wounds, embrace vulnerability, and rediscover the unshakable strength that resides within us all, proving that abandonment is merely the soil from which personal renewal can grow.